Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unapologetically You with myself, Tulse. This is a podcast where we explore health, wellness, and mindset. That is purposely to help you step fully into your power. So, I'm your host, Tulsi, and I'm going to be with my co-host, my guest co-host, Christa. So today we're going to dive into how our energy levels fluctuate based on our habits, our emotions, and a little bit of pseudoscience, if you will, some planetary shifts and integrating some spiritual insights. For anyone who isn't invested in spirituality, we will take a superficial dive into how energies affects our habits, our emotions, probably even look at the way astronomy impacts our physiology, our psychology, as well as biology. And I'm so glad Christa is here to help me with these energetic check-ins because I think she's got a little bit more experience than I do. But we both have a physiological background. So, welcome, Christa. Hi.
Hi, it's so good to be here again. I'm
Hi,
excited
Christa.
for today's topics.
Okay, so we are gonna go straight into our question and answer. What was your biggest win this week, Christa? Do you have anything specific?
So, biggest win this week for me is making time for myself and regards to sleep because
Oh,
I was
okay.
doing a little self-assessment on how it's not just the quality of sleep, it is creating space for you to have a healthy nighttime routine. And it's not just the nighttime routine of showering, it's the nighttime routine prepping for rest, for
Mm-hmm.
physical, mental, emotional, all the rest that you need. And I feel like that pre close your eyes time period is very, very important.
Agree,
So,
completely agree. And how do you feel after prioritizing that? Have you felt any sort of effect?
you know what I have actually, that time frame, what used to take me over an hour, I can do literally, I've done this for the last 6 days,
Mm.
specifically saying no to anything and everything. When I say, hey, I'm going to bed now, the answer's no for everything thereafter.
Oh, I like
And
that.
it doesn't have to be, the raunchy no, no, but it does have to be a hey, I'm doing my thing. It's time for me time, but I am going to bed thereafter. So I'm unavailable. And it was
Yeah.
being okay with saying, hey, I'm unavailable for things that I would normally be like, I'm not going to miss that. And then I had to ask myself why. So
Mhm.
a huge change for me because I do have kids and they, you know, I have one starting college. She's like, hey, mom, guess what? And I'm like, it is my bedtime. We can do this tomorrow in the morning, super early if you'd like to get up. I would love to hear it. So, you know what I've been doing is saying, hey, put this in a message and I will reply to you. And it's unfortunate I have to do that with my kids, but I had to create those boundaries high enough because I
Yeah.
feel like I have to come first so I can truly be there to support them. And that's a big win for me because I'm that mom who's always there and always available.
Yeah,
But I,
absolutely. And I feel like it's giving them an example of prioritizing, of putting boundaries in. And when you're teaching them at a younger age, they're not just gonna listen to you because you've said it, they're gonna listen to you because you're doing it. They'll see it.
yes, my youngest is just turned 14, and this is actually impacting her the biggest and the
Mm,
most, and biggest in the emotional way of, at the end of her day, sometimes she just wants to come lay down in my bed next to me. She doesn't have to say anything, but I've actually limited that a little bit more this week on
okay.
purpose because I wanted her to feel what she's going through rather than me help her transmute that extra energy. I
Yeah.
wanted her to be fully exhausted. So she too, well, mom's not available. Well, fine. I'm just going to go to bed. Well, that's exactly what you should be doing. You
Yeah,
know,
but the
it
thing
just
is, we know that,
reinforces that.
but hormones affect the teenage brain. We know that they don't really adhere to the night as well as say adults or children never do because they sleep whenever they are growing, right? But it's the same
Yep.
with with kids. I think we sometimes underestimate how much sleep they actually need. We're forcing them to have a bedtime routine because of the schooling timetables, which also doesn't work with their neurological patterning of what they actually need rest for. And they end up being quite nocturnal. And then that is kind of branded as a bad thing. Do you know where I'm going with this? Like in terms of like we're telling them to go to bed earlier, but actually that doesn't actually fit their whole growth phase because of all the I love all of Matthew Walker's work on sleep, and he actually talked about sleep and its impact on like the teenage and the young adult brains.
I totally agree. And another thing that really impacts this whole topic is how much of their day is spent on their own extracurricular commitments.
Mm,
And what I believe that this week is actually showing her is that, wow, mom just straight up said she's going to bed. Like, I wasn't done. Like, no, 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 no. She also needed to put up boundaries to say, hey, I'm done thinking about this today. I am laying down with my kitty cats and we're going to bed. Like she had to find that within herself also. And now I'll say day 5, she's falling asleep within 15 minutes of laying there.
oh, that's perfect. That's a good time frame.
So a normal day of that being nocturnal, oh my gosh, yes, she is that child. The sky's awake, so I'm awake. No, we're not. We're going to bed. And I don't mean it in the rotten way, but I had to be the example for her specifically because those hormones are she's not only picking up on her hormones, that's energy. She's picking
Mm,
up on every little girl that's in her school, right? And then she
mhm,
comes home and like, "Oh wow, mother load energy says no, we're not doing that." Okay. Well, mom, how do you not do that? Simply by telling you no and that I'm going to bed. And
mm,
she was kind of, upset with me at first, but finally she's like, okay, well, that's my cue. I get to go to bed. Oh
yeah.
my gosh, it's so early. I get to go to bed. I have ran a mile today. I have spent 5 hours at dance practice after school, and I got my chores done. I had to remind her of all the successes that she had today,
Oh,
and
well
she got her
done.
homework done so
Yeah.
she could calm her mind, which, calms the emotion. It clarifies and acknowledges the mental things that just keep playing and playing that she has to do. No, 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 no. You've had your success today. Good job.
Mm,
High five. Put her there. Give me a kiss. Go to bed.
mm,
Get away from me.
yeah.
But I had to be firm the first few days because she is that nocturnal child. She will let all of those things that she worries about keep her up. But when I had to, kind of put my foot down with myself, she was like, she ended up putting her phone down by herself. I didn't have to tell her to go put her phone away.
Oh, nice.
That's a huge thing, especially with the kids of today.
The kids of
And
today.
and I say that there are a lot of children who have phones and they don't have that digital discipline.
Well, you know
And
what? Adults
she's
don't
learning
even
that.
have that. Adults don't even
That
have
is
that.
very
So it's like,
true. But where are the
listen,
kids learning it? So
exactly.
she's literally watching me and my partner put our phones down and
Yeah.
enjoy whether it could be anything. It could be a show that we like to watch together,
Yeah.
um, or something. We put them down for that show.
Hmm.
That is our quality time with her. And then now she's like, oh, that's kind of nice. She's thought that present moment. Wow,
Hmm.
that's kind of nice. That's
Yeah.
why it's the gift. Oh, I get it. I'm like, do you? She's like, I heard it before, but it didn't like, yeah, I get it now. I'm like, okay. So I feel that is a huge win, not just for myself, but the example that I set for my children and also my partner, because he is that nocturnal person as well. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't care when you go to sleep, but you need to have that routine of getting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That
he's
makes
still trying to
sense.
figure it out. But now that I'm like, no, after a certain time, he'll literally sit there and look at me. And I'm like, that's fine. Have fun with that. I hope you get tired, when I'm sleeping. And he'll leave the room and he'll actually go finish working. And then when he comes back, he's super tired. So
Yeah.
he has to get all that energy out too,
Yeah.
just in a different hour than me. We have different schedules. That's fine.
Yeah.
So he's trying to be there to support me in my no, but also be there for quality time of winding down. So it's been a very huge change for my household, not just myself. So that's a huge win for me.
I love that. Do you want to hear my huge win, my biggest
I
win this
do.
week? I tried something new this week. I tried to do some jujitsu and I injured myself. I mean, it's not terrible, but I cannot grip with my left hand anymore. I cannot even hold things without it being painful. But I learned my biggest win is I'm not into jujitsu. I learned that I can go out there and try things, and I realized I don't want to do rough and tumble on the mat and get sweaty and almost like you know what? They were talking about injuries then. They were like, "Oh, this injury will happen and that injury will happen." And I'm like, excuse me? Like what?" And it's
I don't know if
fine.
I signed up for this.
I know. I'm like, okay, I get it. I just thought we were gonna, honestly, I didn't even look it up. I thought we were just gonna learn a few defensive moves and like kind of like understand that. And to be honest, the coach was amazing. I'm just like, I don't think this is for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and try new things. And I'm like, no, I think I'm just gonna stick to yoga and tennis and weight training and all of that shebang. But yes, what made you smile this past few days? Is there anything that specifically kind of like yeah, just really made you smile? I could probably think of one because we've communicated this week and that was really cool. Something that you've done. I don't know if
Do,
that's going to be the reason that you smile though.
well, go ahead. Let's
Well, no,
elaborate on it.
it's your the
No,
smile
it's
bit.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
let's do it.
Krista, earlier, about a day or so ago, sent me pictures of her daughter dressing up, and she was basically modeling for, like you would get the oh, the tea party, Mad Hatter's tea party type of
Alice in
attire,
Wonderland.
costumes.
Yeah.
So she sent me a whole load of professional photos and even her personal ones. And I was like, oh my God, your daughter could be a model. Like she is so pretty, so photogenic. And so Krista was like, oh my gosh, she's literally been talking about modeling, but she was obviously very nervous about it. So that actually made me smile because I was like, she looks phenomenal and she's such an angel. She is got so many creative endeavors and talents. So yeah, well, if that was my smile moment, I think that obviously I thought that would be yours. But yeah, do tell. Have you got another one?
So no, it actually does have to do with that because before this photo shoot, when she first said, "Hey, mom, do you think I could do this photo shoot? It's a themed one." And I was like, "Sure, do you have an idea?" She's like, "Absolutely not." I was like, "Do you want help?" She's like, "You've got it," which is the go button, all the green lights for mom to completely doll her up, right?
Mm.
We get to the day of the photo shoot. We're getting ready. She does her makeup how I tell her to. She's very artistic with makeup. And I don't know how she doesn't want to do her own YouTube. It's crazy. But she tapped into those skills and it looked phenomenal. And she started crying that she looked ridiculous and that she's going to be embarrassed and all of these different things of why pretty much it's embarrassing, completely judging herself. Now, I get her, hey, stop your crying. That's not how it is. We're going to get dressed. We get her dressed. She feels ridiculous. We're getting out of the car. We get there. This is dumb. And imagine like that whole negativity cloud just disintegrating in the sun. And she looked up and saw her friends. And in her mind, I'm going to say her words, wow, they look just as ridiculous as me. Now, for her never dressing up in a costume with makeup, for her, it's extravagant because now she's a teenager. She has to be seen in the world. She holds titles in the community. For them to see that creative side of her, that was so vulnerable,
Yeah.
so vulnerable. And then when she saw her friends dressed up in something they would never wear out in public, but for this photo shoot, she was like, wow, your mom went all out too, huh? And she's like,
Oh.
every time, she's like, it's fine. We only have to do this for about an hour and a half. Guess what their favorite photos are from all the photo shoots they've done? This one. And for her, when we left, I asked her, "How do you feel about your costume?" It's actually really cool, Mom. Good job. It
Aww.
wasn't just that moment of immediate appreciation for the character she's portraying, but having her confidence out loud during the photo shoot because we wanted her to look mad. We wanted mad as in crazy, Mad Hatter vibes of disgust and like, I'm better than that. I've got it when you
Hmm.
don't got it, but you got it. Yeah. So that type of energy, but in a character is something very different for her. She does it on stage all the time with dance, but not as a character that's already been created from a book. It's already created multiple times in movies. So, which character are you bringing to this photo shoot? And what I love that made me the most happy and smile was that she brought her own. She
Yeah.
didn't tap into the movies, she didn't tap into the little kid version. She tapped into who she was playing that character and how she felt about that character, which is for her is amazing because she did that out loud in front of people. And that was one of her biggest fears. So allowing her for myself, I got to create my character. That was for my smile for me. And then and along with that, aligned with that was her smile about feeling confident in the character she was playing. So that's a huge step for both of us because I don't get to do that very often,
Yeah.
um, especially out loud where she's going to wear it to something. We used to do it as when she was little, but that was just for home pictures, not for a whole photo shoot for a photographer who's going to blast these all over the internet. So huge smiles all around. I had to share with you. So
I
you're
love it.
absolutely right.
I love it. Okay, so what's the intention for this coming week? You've been adjusting your habits, your routines, you've been looking after yourself, your kids are good. What's your intention this coming week?
Mm, to move.
Oh.
To move my body. I know that nutrition, that intake and movement is
Mm-hmm.
so huge. If not if, when I can, I already know I can do it with my no, right? My no time.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to, I think this coming week is going to be, hey, I'm walking. If you want to chit chat, come walk with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to start moving when I do my regular stuff that I need to do. I would like to walk more, even if it's in the middle of a conference call. I'd rather take it on a mobile
Yeah.
than to listen to it at my desk. And there's a lot of people who don't do that. And I just kind of have come to the conclusion that I don't like being at a desk all day long.
Yeah.
I am fortunate enough to have a standing desk and I love that. Well, now I'm looking at how stationary it can be. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing that next week. I
Mm.
actually thought of this last night and I forgot that it was on our topic list. So I'm glad that you brought it up so I can retouch and confirm to myself this is what I'm doing. Thank you.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, so let's hit on our hot topic of the day. Let's hit on. So, a hot topic of the day will be about our energetic check-ins. Now, we've got like three main topics that Krista and I will talk about. And obviously, you guys listening in on YouTube or even on Spotify, let us know whether we're accurate in these conversation and these topics, or even if you wanted for us to talk a little bit more about other topics in particular. So I actually wanted to read a part of my book because I feel like it probably does tap into this energetic wave that people may be resonant with. And it was all about nature. So, like my book right now, my second book that is released, is available on Amazon, and that is called Love Within. And it looks at parts of ourselves that we have dismissed, parts of ourselves that we are afraid to check in with or even assess triggers or wounds in order for us to be more open to love, because everybody's been hurt in this and everybody holds a lot of fear around it, and in order to embrace it we kind of need to take that leap of faith. So in let me just see. I don't even know which chapter this is in, but it's basically on 80 page 80. Let's have a look. Page 67. So this part of the book is all about interconnectedness, and I felt like it was really relevant to bring it in when it comes to nature, basically, because I wrote in the book that nature is actually a great example of unconditional love. And a lot of us don't feel we have or we even deserve that level of love. And there are so many studies that emphasize how much being in nature is conducive to our health and wellness. Even when, Christa, you were talking about movement. And this is all because what we are observing in nature, we are actually being humbled by the vastness of creation. The way some plants or animals and foliage have actually evolved through thousands and thousands of years, and there's no objectification in nature. There's only pure being. And you're far less likely to begrudge a tree for not being perfect and in symmetry, or a plant for expanding across the forest floor. But we accept that nature is wild, it's unrestricted, it's untamed, and we then can allow this sense of imperfection to expand our own sense of imperfect love. So I actually wrote in the book that imagine that you're standing in a serene forest, and if you can, and you're safe to do so, and you're not driving, just imagine yourself in this serene forest, surrounded by towering trees, delicate blossoms. You've got this gentle melody of like singing birds, or even a river brook that is right next to you. But in this moment, you may sense this overwhelming connection to the natural world. The rustle of trees, the crisp scent of pine, and this vibrant hue of all the flowers that are just invoking this profound sense of unity. And that experience actually reflects the essence of universal love. And that energy that flows through every being is woven into the fabric of nature. And that same love actually fuels the growth of a tree, the bloom of a flower, the flight of a butterfly. It's in that dance of existence. And if that didn't confirm universal love to you, picture another scene of, say, a coral reef behind the crystal clear waters of the ocean. Within this vibrant underwater community, there is this complex symphony of communication that unfolds between the coral polyps, and they actually release chemical signals. They alert nearby inhabitants about potential threats or even changes the environment. So, even through the water, there is constant communication. There's fish navigating through waters with subtle movements. There's vibrant colors to convey those messages of courtship, of territorial boundaries. And in that microscopic plankton, they even emit bioluminescent signals. And that displays this stunning light show of form of communication right in the depth of the sea. So nature actually communicates through us, through sound, through movement. That's where the energy is. And that is a testament to the interconnected web of life, where every single organism plays a role in maintaining that delicate balance of that ecosystem. And I love the comparison of, it dancing, it's mirroring the universal love that binds all human beings. And that's what I really wanted to put through in the book. Like, universal love permeates through the entire cosmos. It's not confined to Earth or humanity. It's actually extended to the stars, the planets, and it's this cosmic scale of love. And that's what I do obviously go into way more detail about nature and plants, but what is your take on nature and energy and the underground network, for example? Like, just generally, what would you say your idea of energy is around the ecosystem or nature?
My, I believe that without nature, we would forget the true essence of where we come from. And I say that because as humans, we look into natural resources, things being organic. Why do these things matter? It's not just a societal trend. It matters because that is what's true. That is what's whole. That is what was given to us by God, source, universe, pick your um, title there. But we want to come back to that, whether it's being trendy or not. That is truly where wholeness begins, is from the earth, because you can't, I don't care who you are. I've never heard one person say, I was sitting by the uh, creek, excuse me, the stream today, and I was just offended. I was surrounded by butterflies, and I went towards this one really dark tree, and I was so big I couldn't even get my arms around it, and there was moths. On an energetic level, wow, you sat by the stream and were surrounded by butterflies. You must have really good energy, right? That is all perspective.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gone in nature and gone, oh, that was so
yeah, but
annoying.
that's just it, is I have never heard any of that. It doesn't matter what forum, social platform, anything. You're not going to hear that, right? Well, then I ask myself, why? Where do all these things come from? What is so rich in this earth that life just begins? And it makes me want to put my feet in the grass. It makes me want to clean up the garden. I don't know
But
why. I just love it. I
wait a
love what it does to
second.
me.
But the thing is, there is like a frequency gauge. I'm not actually sure about the actual technology they use, but you can actually um track frequency or hertz. And the person, actually, they did this on a child. They asked the child to hold onto, like, like you would boost a car. Like, obviously, you've put one clip
Yeah,
in one hand, one clip in the other. Like, obviously, it's not, it's not a car booster. But I can't remember
right.
the actual technology that they used. But they told a child to obviously grip on it, obviously one or the other or both or whatever it was. And they stood on the concrete and there was like 0 hertz, 0 frequency. And then seconds later, the person, the adult, asked the child to step on the grass and literally it just flew up. And this is the thing, like, there are people now tracking the energetic, the frequency of plants, of trees, of
Yes.
grass. So there is something to do with that. But you know what really does, I would probably use the word annoy me. I'd probably say I like it doesn't bother me, but it's just one of the things that we refuse to believe it until it's scientifically proven, but we're forgetting that science is ever evolving. We never
Mm,
begrudge a scientist by saying, oh, you're wrong, because that's the whole point of science. We're supposed to
yes.
say, well, this is wrong. Here's a better way to do it. Here's another theory. Here's another set of research. Here is another set of skills and stats. But hold on, we're actually saying, oh, well, that's not backed by science, so it can't be true until it is backed by science, and then we change our mind. So I think that for me, I'm like, well, wait a second, how much faith can we actually put in ourselves? Because for years, I know I'm going off
Hmm.
topic now, but for years, Ayurveda was not backed by science. And now that it is backed by science, everyone's like, oh my gosh, it must be so good for you. And you're like, wait, it's been around for centuries. Like it's worked for decades. And now because it's backed by science, it's won you over. Like, oh, how distracted are we by it being validated by strangers we don't even know?
So here's another, I'll say it goes more hand in hand with the way that you portray this, um, science versus feeling, and I want to say the contagiousness of frequency. There's a group that says plants don't have voices. Well, then there's the guy that says, yes, they do. And he creates this thing you hook up to the flower and it has a speaker. And
Hmm.
their frequency is so high. What do we naturally do? We look at whatever plant that is, that beautiful noise can't be coming out of that. No way. Because we've been taught differently, that programming, right? But
Hmm.
what about the person that was like, I knew it had a beautiful voice. Oh,
Hmm.
and then they find themselves laying in the grass every day. There is some part of you that is connected and needs that frequency for healing. There is some part of you that was attracted to that plant, anyways. And now you can hear it.
Hmm.
That just makes it even more just wow, you know? And I feel like the energy we feel about ourselves. how our feelings, how we show up in this world plays a huge role in what we attract, right? So that person who had never said, I hate sitting by the stream, I could attract all these bugs. And then there's another person on the other side of the stream, I'm attracting all of these mosquitoes. Okay, well, the two of you, you're calling in greatness. And the other person could be something along the lines of, you're just yummy all around. Everybody wants a piece of you. And they're both looking at each other like, how, what? I don't want to be smothered in butterflies and I don't want to be eaten with mosquito bites. Can we trade? What do? They start having conversation. They start hanging out with each other. Now what happens? That energy intertwines. Now the butterflies and mosquitoes don't know what to do because they're changing it up. They're calling in something else for themselves, right? But that's all energy also. So no matter how or who we exchange energy with, there is something that we call into ourselves, not realizing, even if it is just our feet in the grass versus concrete, we're calling in something. And do we always have a word for that something? No, but there's always a reason why it's being called in. And that's that part of looking within to find that love within. What part of me needs support right now from also, since we're talking about earth and its frequency that needs this in my life.
Mm.
And, some people's perspective might be, oh, because your work is chaotic, your children are chaotic, your life is chaotic, and you just need to sit down and chill. I've been trying to tell you this for weeks. And then there's other people, but I go out in in the field and in the mountains and or by the lake or by the stream every single day. But with what glasses? It's all perspective, right? Are
Mm.
you willing to look within to understand the frequencies that you're attracted to and that are attracting you, manifesting you, whatever that is? I think true alignment happens because of nature.
Okay, so
It's a theory of it's the example that we're learning from. The flowers can't bloom without bees. We
mhm,
can't thrive without earth.
yeah,
Where do you think that whole food comes from, right?
yeah.
Give me his perspective.
Well, no, I was gonna say, based on that, based on our inner understanding, our inner standing, as you so rightly said, we are attracted to certain things, and I probably won't go too much detail into this, like the relationship side of things. When we
Hmm.
hear a lot of negative comments around the opposite sex by saying, "Oh, I always
Mm,
attract this type of individual." But wait a second, you're attracting this type of individual because that part needs healing within you. And
yes.
a lot of times people don't want to hold themselves accountable to address that frequency, and say
Hmm.
almost like even trauma bonding based on what they are lacking. And then they're like, well, what's wrong with me? I'm always attracting these type of people. But wait a second, well, what have you healed within you? What are your habits? What are your behaviors? How much time have you spent in nature? How much time have you spent sitting still? Like, and actually addressing those wounds within yourself, because it's horrible to like actually admit it, but I remember
Hmm.
actually saying, well, wait a second, all of these, like, say, negative things that have happened in my life, I hold my hands up and take full accountability of those, and they weren't pleasant, circumstances that I put myself in, but I made a choice, and I kept making those choices. But because I was unable to get out of that energetic frequency of, say, self-harm, and it would have been self-harm in various different ways, like exercising too much or eating too little or too much, or getting into a bad relationship and having the person who was a bit of a narcissist. Like, you know what I mean? It's like we are not taking accountability of our own intuition to tell us, well, no, let's not pick up that wound. Let's not pick up that scab. Let's address it. Let's heal it. Let's seek support. And a lot of times people want those quick fixes, those quick distractions. But as I said, that was kind of off topic. But did you want to add
So,
anything to that before we kind of move on to, say, like the birth charts or the planetary alignment?
yes, just really quick. So, if we go into nature and we see all these beautiful things, and we know we're going to see all these beautiful things, we're going to feel things, we're going to hear things, animals, birds, see insects, and possibly even fish or tadpoles. And we always smile at these things, right? Why don't we have the same expectation and standard when we go into the world of people, of humans?
Oh, I love that
Why are we
perspective.
accepting the program we had as children as our own when there is so much world to be seen and felt?
Yeah,
So it's a self-limiting thing in my perspective that
agree.
if you want to attract what a different type of person, as the example you gave, you have to become the person that you want in your life. You have to become them. And
Yeah.
then like attracts like, does it not?
Agree. And you know what? I want to add on to this because I think it was like 2 years ago, I think it was. I said to my friend, I was like, "Oh, I really like this guy. And I used to have this expectation in my head that they need to answer my text straight away. They're always on their phone. Why aren't they replying to my messages?" And I said to myself, I was like, and this is what I said to my brother. I said, wait a second. I have none of that expectation when it comes to my closest friends. Why on earth am I actually expecting this from a guy I like? Because I've been conditioned that they need to reply within 3 working days. It's like, wait a second. Why are we putting expectations on these men or women, especially when we like them a lot more? We should still keep treating them like we would the people we love. We would give them grace because their lives are busy too. We would give them less expectation because we know that they wouldn't intentionally hurt us or harm us. But we're putting so much expectation on a potential partner that we think, what, right, you know what? I'm going to write this person off because they didn't reply to me in so and so working days. And it's like, wait a second, are we seeing them like we would nature? Are we actually accepting their imperfections and actually being honest about the way you wish to be communicated to?
Yes, it definitely brings to the forefront that I'll say everybody's heard it. Everybody's at some point in their life treat people the way you want to be treated. But it really comes full circle as an adult and you're looking into yourself and like all of these things you're saying. Yes, you have to look at these darker areas. Yes, you need to, you are the light. You have to shed light on them so they can be seen, but you're never going to know if you're not willing to share your light, right?
Mm,
Treat people the way you want to be treated. Be who you want to come into your life because when you come back to yourself and you've re-entered your life, you're becoming aligned with yourself, which just makes you a whole beacon of radiating energy and light that the right person aligned for you, they're not going to turn the other way, right?
yeah,
That's energy. That is that
yeah,
reciprocal energy, but that also that is the earth. That is that interconnected, I want to say reciprocation, law
yeah,
of the universe, right?
yeah. And it's like,
Such
well,
a
wait
good
a
point.
second. If we say, oh, well, when you know, well, that's exactly how nature proposes things to be. We are not
Mm,
looking for a scientific breakdown of, but how do you know? How do you know that person was the one? How do you know? No, we're just saying, look, you're just gonna know. You just need to listen to yourself and explore that area. Like I feel like there is so much information overload right now is we tend to freak ourselves out and there is a lot of self-diagnosed issues and problems, and I'm not dismissing
yeah.
any of that, but what I'm saying is sometimes that can feel so overwhelming that we use
Hmm.
that as an excuse to erase our accountability, and we do need to be a little bit more accountable. But actually, moving on to the second part of this subject, because obviously we've got two other things that we are going to talk about in this hot topic. I wanted your take on a lot of women that I've been speaking to are very much into human design. I
Mm,
personally have read about Gene Keys, that was by Richard Rudd. And then also, like, the Gene Keys really does take like I Ching, human design, planetary alignments, like so much of our DNA about where our wounds, where our strengths, where our gifts can actually take us. But astrology, like it that is a subject that has been termed as pseudoscience. It's lacking that empirical support and it's false. But at the moment, there is a lot of money being made on birth charts, on like people in the Eastern world will not get married unless they consult the astrologer about when their date should be, who their partner should be confirmed by, like looking at birth charts, looking at wedding dates, looking at the moon. They really do take this to another level, and there's so much hype on, like star signs, and there's billions being made on YouTube around tarot readings. So, like, where do you fall into like the moon, human design, birth charts and things like that? Because there's obviously a huge, huge business that people really do resonate with.
So for myself, I tested these moon cycle theories of, for women and the menstrual cycle alignment there. I looked at my birth chart and did these, you know, uh, planetary movements, trial and error of no, nobody's, this is, we'll say, I think in July we had the 5 retrogrades, for example.
Mhm.
Okay, well, if you are a fixed sign, you might have a hard time.
Can you explain
And
what a fixed sign may be?
oh, okay, so you're talking Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio.
Okay.
Did I miss one? Um,
Is Sagittarius in there or no?
no, that's a mutable sign.
Okay.
Um, and these different, um, I don't, I'll have to research the name real quick, but the way that your birth chart, hey, at the time and date you were born, this is what was going on in the cosmos. I don't think people actually talk about this until they really ask the question, do I want to know about
Mm-hmm.
myself?
Mm-hmm.
And then another person will say, well, how can that tell me about myself? And then they do it and they're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, the
Yeah.
planets tell me so much about myself. Well, I have done also the astrological placements, or sorry, and human design
Yeah.
with you
Yeah.
via phone. And we had quite a long talk about human design and does it resonate with us and who we are today. And I will tell you, if I had this conversation 15 years ago, I would say no.
Really?
I would say no because I didn't believe in myself as much as I do now. It was a
Okay.
different level of belief and trust that not only was I in specifically, I was in a place of not trusting myself enough to know more about me. Does that make sense?
It
So when I
does.
learned about human design, it was went into this detailed analysis that had nothing to do with my actual DNA. It had nothing to like, mind you, I come from the laboratory where I would run these tests on myself to test different theories of what worked, right?
Yeah.
Well, I got into this like, man, this space of needing, I need to know why. I have to know why. What the heck? I just didn't understand how all of this was so prominent, but I didn't run a specific genetic test to see if this was all true.
Yeah.
I wanted that scientific validation. But with human design, and I'm going to add in here so everybody can go look up and see if it resonates, their cosmic signature, your cosmic identity, and what your in one sentence per se, what your mission is in this lifetime. It aligns with the human design and also astrological planetary shifts. And what does that mean? That means that I needed more information because I didn't believe that solely human design was accurate. I didn't believe that all this planetary stuff that I actually did align with, to be honest.
Yeah.
I did align with the things that were going on. In July, the 5 retrogrades of all these different planets. I have so much Leo in my planet. I was just a sitting duck on a pond, quite literally, just tied down by one weed stuck on my ankle, not being able to go anywhere, and just like, hey, well, spirit, if you can somehow send a fish my way that doesn't want to eat me, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And I would sit there in my feelings just day after day. It was like what, five weeks of all of these
Yeah.
planetary things. But then as I'm going through all these things that are coming up, it was literally like a VHS review of my life.
Yeah.
Everything bad that happened. And I'm like, I don't want to know this. I don't want to be reminded of this.
Yeah.
What the heck? And it wasn't because, hey, I didn't want to know. It was that, was I ready to know and have a clearer understanding of who I'm meant to be, who
Mm,
I have potential to be? And that's what I think is not talked about is this is a blueprint of your potential,
yeah.
your
I
biggest
agree.
strengths and your biggest areas that you could possibly identify as weaknesses. But does it
Agree.
have to be? No, it does not. It doesn't have to be a weakness. How you see that is going to be much different, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
What is your take on that part
It's
of
really
them
funny.
aligning?
It's really funny because I'm a big fan of like screen grabbing some of the content that I was trying to go back to the human design because I personally hadn't resonated with human design. I resonated with Gene Keys, and I really
Oh, okay.
love your impact that I've had on numerology. So I do want to bring in numerology later
Ooh.
because I feel like you know my numbers more than I know my numbers. But like Gene Keys specifically. So basically, what it means is you can get your breakdown of the day you were born, where you were born, the time you were born, and you get a profile. You can do this via human design online, or you can do it via Gene Keys. Now, both of these kind of maps will give you a breakdown based on who you are. Like I really like the Gene Keys because it breaks it down into so many different complex things, like in terms of your evolution, your purpose, your radiance, your life's work, your culture, your attraction, all these different things. And what I really like just as an example, because obviously I brought it up on my computer, but so, say for example, you will bring up a genius, a love, and a prosperity. So, for me,
Mm,
my purpose in life is the genius part it is the gift of magnetism. And to realize my purpose, I need to transform the shadow of dullness. So it basically says, look, this is what you are gifted with. This is your shadow that you need to work on. And then also, this is how you can transform it to a higher frequency, if you will, because we are talking about frequency and energies. Now, the same thing about love. Like in this breakdown, this is a very short, minute detail. I've actually bought the textbook and it's huge, and I've wanted to go through all of it because I feel like it's really relevant to understand myself in particular, just to say, well, am I neglecting these areas of myself? Am I paying attention to these areas? I'm the type of person who doesn't just look at my strengths and builds on them. I look at my weaknesses and then try to figure out how can I improve that. And there's no specific goal. That's just who I am. And it's so funny because if you know me, like you've read Happiness Within, or even if you've read Love Within, that reveals quite a bit. But then in the area of love, it says relationships are my greatest challenge. And the transformation is the shadow of unease. The gift is the intuition. And that the highest expression of my heart is epiphany. So, like, all of these words that are coming in might be a little bit like overwhelming for some people, but I'm reading it and I'm like, wait a second, what is my life's work? And then it comes back with a little bit more detail. And obviously, I'm being vulnerable and opening here. So, my life's work is basically broken down by the gene keys, and they say it's in who you are. It's your very innocence. It's your naivety, which I personally, side note, thought that was a bad thing. Um, and then it's one thing that no one and no thing can ever take away from you. You carry this certain magnetic quality wherever you go, and because of this, others will be attracted to you without really knowing why. Your potential is to allow others just to be who they are, and that is literally a big tick for me. Like that's I accept people as they are, not to change them. And I love hearing about people, but I also am very protective about who I hang out with or how much time I spend with them. But like the Gene Keys goes on to say, by doing this, you're empowering them in the way you can. Your uniqueness may have a certain intangibility to it, but its effect is far from intangible. Through your accepting spirit, you are a mirror for anyone you meet, and this can affect them very deeply. It may respond by doing anything from running away to falling in love with you, which again, that happens frequently in my relationship. So it's like I'm listening to this, I'm reading this, and I'm like, wait, hey, this is deeply resonant. Like, I don't even know how I and why I actually snapshot this, but I came across another image and it basically says find your date of birth and look at your soul number. Now, Krista, you and I have not done this, and I'm actually really intrigued. Do you know what your soul number is?
Soul number.
Soul number based
I
on your
haven't heard
birth
it put that.
date. So you're 17, right?
Yes.
So I'm going
So
to
it'd
read
be
out
8.
your soul number is 8, and my soul number is, because my birth date is on the 19th, I'm going to read out my soul number 1. So let me read out
Mm.
mine, and then you can tell me if yours resonates, because mine certainly does resonate. So my birth date, and obviously this is all like itemized into dates, and then it links to your soul number. My birthday is on the 19th, so my soul number is 1, and it says the sun. The sun is radiance among people. It is unconditional love, generosity, joy, radiance, giving oneself, leadership, strong personality, achievement, patronage, leadership, strong individuality, initiator, pioneer. It leads people to follow it. Many new ideas, burning with desire to achieve something, original, independent, sometimes aggressive. Well, yeah, I admit that. Love for luxury, for the royal lifestyle. They have good manners and good taste. They love freedom, travel, and everything new, which is so true. The main mission of people with soul number of 1 is to serve other people, to patronize, to guide, to protect, and create new businesses that are useful to society. It is very important for them to brag less and pay and play to the public. To spend money wisely, it is important to reveal the aspect of unconditional love and generosity and then shine to others like the sun, to inspire and give joy and light. Now, for me, I'm reading that and I'm like, I'm all over this. This is all me, right? And so, like, for me, I'm like, well, are we giving each other a chance? Like, are we actually saying, well, wait a second, is this a part of me? Am I able to resonate with this? So it's almost like saying, because we want to dive deeper, what else are we able to discover from that? And so your soul number, I'm just going to give you a run through. Apparently, Krista, your soul number is 8 in numerology as well. Um, and that is basically a strong drive for ambition, achievement, and power. And individuals with this soul urge are often motivated by either money or authority, making decisions that align with their goals and determination. They are known for their leadership qualities and their ability to use power in refined ways, but they also face challenges in maintaining balance in their pursuits. In relationships, they have great compatibility with numbers 1, 4, and 22. And as they uplift each other, they create stable environments, and their essence evolves around strength, conviction, the pursuit of success. There's achievement, there's inner drive, there's so much around this soul. You know, you can go into career, you can go into love and relationships, you can go into challenges. But you said, and this is kind of merging into the numerology side of things. And I find that again, it's interesting because we're looking at numbers here, we're looking at planets, and I don't think, however many times we look at things, it's up to us whether we resonate with it or not, of course, but it's still up to us whether we accept that, right?
Hmm. So a couple of things you said that was really interesting is that I don't know a ton about Gene's keys, just what I have learned through you. And then when I looked at my own, I was like, wow, this I don't have a book on it. I didn't go into depth of clicking everything and finding out exactly what it is, just with shortness of time on my part. But I feel that based on what you said, Gene Keys is that it's more resonant to who you are at the soul level. I feel like the human design, this is potentially who you can become at your highest potential. And then uh, astronomy is yeah, but this is how vast it can get.
Mm.
How much do you want out of this lifetime? That is how so I think is what is it? Gene keys. Why is it human designed? Well, what do these go off of? Your blueprint, which is astronomy. Does that make sense? Now you're getting into your soul number, which is the date of the day you were born. What is I find very ironic is that so I had actually forgotten, I don't know why this slipped my mind. You might laugh. The soul number was the date of your birthday versus your life path number. And what I find very interesting is as you're reading mine off, I'm like, wow, that is totally me.
Oh,
But your
really?
soul number versus your life path number, and this taps into numerology.
Yeah.
Now, your soul number, that is who I am on the inside. But how I show up in this world is my life path one. Now, well, I think it's very air quote coincidence, because there are no coincidences, right?
Yeah.
Is you and I are opposite. Your soul number is a one. How you show up in this world is that the eight, that infinity symbol, that what goes around comes around, that immediate, the decision you make has immediate consequences, whether good or bad. You will receive those right back around, whether that timing might be quick, that might be a slow burn, whatever it is, that every decision for those life path eights, they're probably really huge. They're monumental, but also is the reward. Because what you're putting out, just as the infinity sign, will come back to you, right? That's just confirmation for you that what you're putting out does come back.
Yeah.
However, for those and soul numbers and life path numbers, it's almost like it's amplified. At least that's my opinion. And I say that because you literally read both of our life path and or soul numbers. So we're just opposite,
That's so
right?
funny, isn't it?
And I was like, wow, I wonder if I should say that on here. Oh, screw it. Let's just put it out there. And would you say that your soul path does that resonate with your soul or how you show up in the world? Which does you say that's fairly accurate with what
I
you read?
I definitely think that number one was accurate with what I read. Absolutely accurate.
And that's your soul number. What about the life path number?
I can't remember you always remember my life path
Oh, it's
number.
eight. Yes,
Oh,
your
okay.
life path is eight.
And 100%, yeah, reading out that soul number in reference to it being number eight, well then yes, because I'm all over that. It's just so funny how it resonates with certain things. Like it's almost like saying, I know myself, I don't know myself, so let me use astrology to confirm who I think I am. Is that an accurate
Yes.
description of saying what we're trying to do?
Yes, 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 yes.
And I feel
So I
like a
just,
lot of people are stuck on that, like going, well, wait a second, I need to, I don't think that it's in a horrible way that I need to soothe my ego to understand how I'm being in this world. It's like, well, wait a second, I need to be reminded of my good qualities. I need to be reminded that there is something bigger that I'm searching for. And it's almost like it's bringing you back to an equilibrium, if you will, rather than it being
yes.
oh my gosh, I know everything and I'm these qualities. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, so I actually have to say that I have to say this because I didn't have anybody who taught me this. I knew of these words, I knew of the zodiac. I already kind of knew in my mind because, back in the day when we were teenagers, we would read magazines to get our horoscopes, right? We didn't have online
Yes.
capabilities then. Let's just throw it out there. That's okay. But now I'm looking at this whole topic we're talking about, like, man, I wish somebody had talked about this when I was going through the beginning part of my journey where I
Yeah.
was just barely hearing these topics. Like, wow, like I'm actually interested in that. I don't want to be nosy, but let me just write down what they said real quick because it was coming from across the room. I'm going to look that up later. That's how I would do this. And
Yeah.
so identifying not only numerology, astronomy, gene keys, human design, now you're looking at your zodiac in a completely different way and how your zodiac completely paves a path of what is going on cosmically with the planets in the sky, right?
Yeah.
Well, life path versus soul path. Your soul path is paved. How are you living that soul path through your life path number? And remember, you read yours soul path as a 1. Well, here's your life path as a number 8. Your personality is one of hard work and hard lessons.
Yeah.
People born with this life path number get their worth from accomplishments and great things. Remember that bigger goal that's satisfying when you feel you've achieved it. That
Yeah.
money and material, just retouching on the things that you've said, those things, they're not the drive. That soul path is.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it plays out in the material world. Nobody told me those connection pieces before. And so I literally, as you were reading those off, I was like, in my mind, like, wow, I wish I related to these before in tying them together the way that we kind of did unknowingly.
Yeah.
And now it makes me look at, wow, how and why am I stuck in the ways that I'm stuck in? I don't want,
Yeah.
okay, for example, I do love Coke. It is so bad for me. But every now and
You
again,
mean the
I
drink,
really
right?
love,
I'm just like
yes.
clarifying for
Oh my
everybody.
gosh, Coca-Cola. Sorry, my bad. Coca-Cola. Yes. I do. Why? I don't know. It's like this nostalgic, like, I like the commercial, right? Do I know it's bad for me? It is. Why do I do that? And I really had to dive in deep. And so I took all of this information we're talking about right now. I
Yeah.
looked at my parents' information, their birthdays, their zodiac, their birth charts, their human design, all because I wanted to find out how I became programmed the way that I was programmed.
Yeah.
And all of looking at everybody's things, everybody's details, I was like, wow, I carry so many of their habits before I started my own journey. I'm like, now I've looked at so many different birth charts and human design, just the general, hey, this is what you show up as. I don't know what they call that in that application, but I've looked at so many of these different things and I'm like, I can actually sense them now
Mm.
with energy. And then depending on what moon phase we're in right now, wow. Hey, you could ask anybody, hey, what's your zodiac? Immediately with that, whatever moon phase we're in right now, coming up on eclipse, and how somebody's personality is showing up in my world. Oh
Yeah.
wow. They sound like, an Aries or a Taurus, or I can actually say that now and I'm fairly accurate. Not just because I've done so much research for myself.
Yeah.
Um, and it's actually how, so what this, the reason I'm even bringing this up is because all of this numerology, astronomy, um, the life path numbers, the human design and gene keys, they've all helped me discover a portion of myself that I knew it existed. I knew
Yeah.
it existed because I've tapped into this before, but I lost it because I went through something so crazy. I had to find it again. And so I had to go reverse engineer everything I've learned and why I learned it. So why did I bring up my Coca-Cola? Because that was actually a time in my childhood that both my parents got along and they
Wow.
would say soda was a treat. We
Yeah.
didn't get it. It was just a, hey, we're going to all share it. Coca-Cola today. And I was like, oh, they're sharing their Coca-Cola with me. So it was a moment of exchange, but a loving exchange when they got along in that part of my childhood.
So it was an association it was an
Yes.
association with those emotions that
Yes.
triggered. Okay.
Yeah. So I was learning about myself, and I'm like, not only does it bring up good memories there, but I found my kids doing the same thing. And they're like, I sent them on vacation. They're like, Mom, but I can't share your Coke. And I was like, you mean steal my Coke? And they're like, Coca-Cola's not the same over here without you. And it was just knowing and hearing and validating for me that it is this truly the smallest things, whether you enjoy it, whatever it doesn't matter what it is. You pick up those things and it's a program from your
Yeah.
parents and
Yeah.
whoever raised you. And it actually does go along with your soul number and your life path number and what is going on in the cosmos. It's just how do we know what to look at in each moment for specific things? That just comes with time, expertise, maybe finding someone who does read birth charts specifically, a subject matter expert in each of these areas, I think is a very good introduction to this realm of topic we're talking about.
I agree. And I was just going through some of the old screenshots that I had obviously stored online. And one of the images that I kept up, and I was like, look, I need to share this one because it was actually titled Why Spiritual Events Boost Your Spiritual Growth. And so, whether we're talking about
Mm,
numerology, whether we're talking about planetary alignments, or even our star sign or birth charts, like we are able to learn more about ourselves by meeting like-minded people, like by attracting those like-minded people, because I feel like we are in this earth school, and so we're constantly learning from each other. What can I learn about myself, or how can I help others be a version of themselves that they need to be right now, right? And there's no judgment, saying that they are probably going through a tough time, and maybe just even checking in with them or messaging them or doing something actually shifts their own perspective or their day or that moment. And not only that, is you feel this comforting sense of belonging. You're able to boost the ability to manifest certain things in your life. You're gaining clarity of your own purpose. And you're having all of these different spiritual experiences that are more deeper. They're more impactful than our superficial look of success based on monetary achievements. So we're able to take inspiration and motivation to continue our own inner journey, our spiritual journey. And we're also understanding the value of community. You know, even by having these conversations, there's a reason why podcasts are huge right now, because like people like listening to other people having conversations. Like, we had our first podcast, and we, drew a chalk in the sand, and I was like, Krista, you don't speak like this when we converse, so be more you, because I love that. People will love that. And it's just like we're going off topic when it comes to like the science based health and wellness. But I think that this podcast is so important for people to go, okay, well, what did I take from this? What can I delve deeper? And what really interests me? Where is it that I'm maybe hiding myself? Where is it that I want to explore? What is it about my childhood that I want to get back into? But that's what my kind of like take home is about the energetic check-ins, about, everything that we've pretty much talked about today.
and so I just want to literally tag team with you on that. In the things that we've talked about actually help me identify my once upon a time poor relationship with exercise, my mindset on it, why I had these programmed thoughts and feelings about specific ways to exercise. And it was like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. Mind you, yes, I was in the military. I can be very disciplined in that way. But there was just one hump I couldn't get over because it was a programmed thing. I didn't know that until looking at the energetics and all of these other areas that, wow, I can be more. I had to trust that again, that I could. And when you're just stepping into this awareness of energy, sometimes it can be very hard to trust in knowing what is yours versus what is somebody else's.
Absolutely.
And that's why I say go to somebody who this is their subject of expertise. The first, whether it's the first time or you just kind of dabble your feet and then you go to somebody and they put all these things together and it's like, wow, okay. And then you sit on it for a while, you'll start noticing things about yourself. And while we all love to hate the mirror that we look into every now and again, it was my greatest teacher. Everything that was playing out in my 3D world because of the energy that I was around, the energy that I thought and felt about myself in that mirror, I was like, this isn't me. But I had to trust and know that that wasn't me in order to accept what was truly me. And that I found that information of, wow, I actually do have all these things. I'm not crazy. I know I felt it in me before. It was confirmation for me that I can change my mindset, my drive, my own motivation, sleep patterns, the way I show up to my children, the way I show up in this world, no matter what you're doing for work with your friends. So completely concur 100%.
I love that. I think like we've covered quite a lot, but it also feels like we haven't covered enough. You know what I mean?
It does. We can talk about it all day.
Right? Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Krista, for like your input, your insights. I know, again, we can talk about this on another podcast, but like I know we try to skim over like the numerology, the nature, the planetary alignments, but there are experts out there. But just be careful about who you're actually trusting, because
Yes.
sometimes that could, throw you into a black hole of trying to trust people, and actually it doesn't end up panning out, does it? Because there are some, not very nice people who can probably take advantage. So yeah, use your discernment, use your insights of how you actually feel and what's going on. But I just want to say thank you, everyone, for actually joining us on Unapologetically You, for listening, for taking us on the car journey or wherever you're at, on a walk even in nature. And if you loved today's podcast, please do share this with other people who maybe even need a boost or maybe even have an insight about what you're listening to. But if you're watching this on YouTube, obviously this is audio only. So thank you guys. Hit subscribe, tap the notification bell because it is important so more people can find videos like this and also you don't miss any new episodes. Make sure you follow us on Spotify and remember the sky isn't the limit, it's just the view. So keep being unapologetically you. I will see you all next time. Krista, I'll see you on the next one.
Bye then.
Bye.